You know, it's kind of funny. People love to say that it's not what you know, it's who you know, as if it's corruption, like it's cheating or something. Like someone in the universe made a mistake. And honestly, most of the women that I coach, and some of the men too, secretly hate hearing that phrase because they've spent years becoming the person who knows everything. They're the expert. They are the dependable one. They are the indispensable one. They're the ones staying late to refine the process. They're the ones taking another certification, learning another system. They're the ones that are able to fix every fire based on what they know. And yet, somehow, the person who gets promoted is the one with the relationships, the one who knows the people, the one who has the conversations, the ones that everybody else seems to trust, even though those women feel like they know more. And it feels wildly unfair when you know that you have worked this hard. And I completely get it. But I think that we've maybe misunderstood the phrase, right? Because who you know, it isn't about manipulation. It's not about being fake or about being the loudest person at happy hour and developing those great stories with everybody. It's not about collecting all of the LinkedIn connection. Like there's the adult Pokemon cards, right? Right? We used to be so excited about how many friends we had on Facebook, and now we're excited about how many connections we have. It's actually about value. Networking is the race to add value. That's it. That's all it is. And the second that you understand that, networking stops feeling this slimy, sketchy thing. It starts feeling intentional and strategic. Think about it. Think about that person that you work with who knows everything about everything, but they are really hard to, kind of build that connection with. They're really hard to work with people in a group setting, right? They're really hard to get answers from on projects because they want to be the person who holds that last puzzle piece. They want to be the person who knows it all. But think about the one who is humble enough to say that they don't have all the answers, but what they do know is who to call to get the right answers. That is who I want you to be, my friends. That is the person who does get the promotion. That's the person who does have all of these great connections to be able to get the exposure and opportunities that they so deserve. That can be you, my friend. But here's the problem. There is an infinite amount of things that you could know. And what that does is it spurs you off in all different sorts of directions. So you can't focus on the one thing that matters, and that's building the relationships. Think about it in the last time that you decided that you had a goal at work, whether it was a promotion, whether it was to make more money, whether it was to get assigned some specific project, right? What did you think of? How did you want to go about achieving that goal? Did you think about going back to school? Did you think about the fact that you don't have your master's yet? So maybe, just maybe, if you went back for that, that would get you there. Did you think about getting another certification? Maybe it's about a specific type of knowledge that you needed. And once you get those letters after your name, then you will be just fine. Maybe you considered watching yet another training or looking for all of the buzzwords online to figure out what was going to be the best option for you. Maybe it was reading another book, whether it's a leadership book or some other technical topic. Maybe it was creating another perfect spreadsheet. Maybe you were going to learn another platform. And look, I love learning. That's part of why I'm here for you, is because I know that you want to learn all of these topics. But when your entire career strategy becomes, what else should I know? You start spiraling. You can't focus on what truly matters. You start just grasping at straws, right? Suddenly your growth feels like standing in the cereal aisle, right? You're staring at 400 different options and you're starving to death because there's just too many choices and there's no direction. You end up in analysis paralysis, wondering whether you should get the healthy kashi stuff or the cocoa pebbles that your kids will probably eat. And that's because knowledge alone, it doesn't create movement. They say knowledge is power, but if that was true, the most powerful people in the world would be librarians because they have access to it all. And you and I both know, sad as it may be, that that is not the case. Because knowledge, it isn't creating action. Action is the power, my friend. And what creates that action is direction. Direction comes through people. It comes through understanding what that expert who knows so much more than you in that one particular area would recommend you do next. See, when you focus on who you know instead of just what you know, something interesting starts to happen, right? Your path, it starts getting clearer because you're following that person who knows even more than you do. You don't have to learn more than them. You don't have to go out and get the exact degree and experiences that they've gotten. You just have to follow their path. So when you are up for that promotion and your boss starts revealing what actually matters to them, or senior leadership starts hinting at the problems that they want to solve, suddenly now you have the direction that you need to go in. And you get to get in there and add some value. And again, you don't have to know everything to be able to add that value. The very best way for you to start adding value, my friend, is to come in with questions. It's to get curious and learn even more about the direction that they are going down. Because now, instead of randomly collecting skills, instead of getting yourself stuck researching all of the different options on how you can just gain more knowledge, you can start adding value specifically where it matters most. You can look at that one specific gap that they want to fill and figure out a way to fill it. You can look at that one particular opportunity that they want to capitalize on, and you can find a way to add value there. That, my friend, is influence. That is strategic leadership. That is how you stop being the person who just works hard, right? Who always just has their nose to the grindstone, and start becoming the person that people trust with bigger things and bigger ideas. And honestly, that is where so many high-performing women get stuck. Because you know who you are. You have always been rewarded for being the hardest worker. You haven't been rewarded for building the strongest relationships, right? Because school rewarded the right answers. Corporate rewarded productivity. Your career rewarded being dependable. So now networking, it just feels like this weird side project. But I am telling you, it is the unlock to get yourself to that next level. And I know what you're thinking, right? You're thinking, why would I go talk to people? Why would I go mingle and feel awkward? That could end up being just a waste of time when I really could be getting more done. But my friend, leadership is not built in isolation. Leadership is built on connection. They say that leadership is lonely, or they say it's lonely at the top, and that is only true when you isolate yourself and expect all of the answers to come from you, expect all of that knowledge to be held within your brain. It's just not realistic, and it is a painful way to go through the process. If you want executive level influence, if you want that executive presence that everyone is always talking about, you have to stop acting like your value only comes from your personal output. Because the higher you go, the less valuable what you are physically able to do and what you yourself physically know is even worth. The more valuable side comes from the people that trust you, It comes from the people that talk to you, the people that want to collaborate with you and want to work on new opportunities with you. It comes from people every single time because it is about the relationships and the value that you add to them. Now, that is why people with influence always seems to know everybody. It's because relationships create visibility, and visibility creates opportunities. And now, again, I can hear you, right? I know what you're thinking. I hate those networking events, Kel. I do not want to go to them. And I'll be honest, me too. I'm going to tell you one quick story. Years ago, to force myself to stay at a networking event at a conference that I was at, I said that I would stay downstairs. I would mingle in the group for as long as it took me to drink one glass of wine. You would not believe how quickly a girl can drink one glass of wine because I just wanted to get out of there. And so I'm not telling you to go awkwardly hang out in those networking events, handing out business cards, in some conference room or in some hotel lobby. Like that's not what I want you to see. Because I know you hate them. And honestly, I hate them too. I'll tell you one quick story here. I actually forced myself to stay at a networking event, right? I was at a conference and I was like, no, I am going to stay here in the lobby and I am going to network with the people. Okay. So I made a rule, which if you are going to a networking event, create a rule for yourself, not this one. Successful rules look like I'm going to say hi to 5 new people, or I'm going to make one solid connection here tonight. My rule, again, don't do what I did, was I will be down here for as long as it takes me to drink one glass of wine. And I can tell you that the only thing accomplished with that rule was the speed at which I could drink a glass of wine you would not imagine. So I'm not telling you to go awkwardly stand handing out business cards in a hotel lobby, eating a cheese cube, and just hoping you can be done soon. All right? That is not what I mean. I want you to do networking within the people that you already know. Because again, even for this, it's who you know and not what you know. You don't have to go present at the conference to be able to make some connections. I want you to find someone at work and say, hey, I heard your team is working on that rollout. What has been the hardest part for you? Or I want you to reach out and say, you always seem so calm on these high pressure projects. What do you think most leaders misunderstand here that you're getting right? I love that one because you can add in a good compliment right along with it. Or, I noticed you're really good at getting buy-in from people. What's your approach there? I would love to learn from you. Do you see the difference? It's not about just collecting their names and numbers. It's about adding value or complimenting them on the value that they can give to you. You're trying to understand them. You're trying to connect with them. You're trying to add the value and get the value back from them. And ironically, that is what most people want to do. They want to help you and they want to have your expertise add to theirs. I learned this years ago. I had the good fortune of knowing the least in every leadership position that I was in. I was always surrounded by experts. And so I only had the opportunity to get curious, to ask questions, and to influence people based on the respect in the leadership that I could add to their expertise. That to me is what real leadership is. It isn't having all the answers. It's having the ability to find them. So if you have that next goal, right? You want to get promoted. You want to make more money. You want to take on this next opportunity. And if you've been sitting around thinking, wondering to yourself, do I need to go back to school? Do I need another certification? Do I need to learn another system? The answer is maybe you do. But before you get yourself stuck trying to figure out which one it is, before you get yourself enrolled in some program that may or may not be the answer, I want you to ask yourself a different question. I want you to ask yourself, who do I need to understand better? Who could I learn from? Who has gone down this path before that I could get directions from? Because sometimes the fastest path to growth isn't learning one more thing. Sometimes it's building one more relationship, and it's that relationship that changes everything. Now, if this hit you a little too hard in the chest today, I just want to say good, good. Because this shift, this is the difference between staying that dependable workhorse and becoming the strategic leader that people just cannot ignore. And if you want help making that shift for yourself, not just working harder, but learning how to communicate and influence and lead strategically, right where you are today to prepare you for everything that's coming next. That is exactly what I do with my clients. And the first step in all of that is just seeing what is possible for you. And so I want you to click the link below to set up some time and just talk to me completely complimentary about what could be possible for you when you lean into that influence and strategic leadership. I will give you the link down below, and I cannot wait to talk to you.